What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry Questions Arc. Last episode, we continued with Chapter 3, and, well, she's not on this page, but, Beatrice over here, decided to completely fucking torture the shit out of Rosa and Maria. So, rip them, they're kinda dead, so, big ouch. Not much else happened last episode other than her torturing them, so that's astounding. Alright, let's continue with this. I don't know who's talking, but let's scroll up. I wouldn't know anyways. Alright. Oh, okay. Woo. Looks like she's finally calmed down. Hideyoshi wiped his own forehead. For a time, Eva had seemed to be having a very painful nightmare, but it appeared she'd finally fallen asleep. As promised, he still gripped Eva's hand. He'd thought it might be time to let go pretty soon, but he faithfully continued to hold on. Every once in a while, his hand would get tired and he would switch between his right and his left. But even so, as promised, he didn't let go of her hand. At that time, there was a heavy knock. Eva had finally been able to fall asleep, so Hideyoshi grimaced for just an instant. Rudolph? Well, Rosa's dead, so it would have to be. Sis? Hideyoshi? Sorry. Is Rosa there? It was Rudolph's voice. What could it be? Hideyoshi headed for the door, hiding his footsteps so that he wouldn't wake Eva. It was definitely Rudolph's voice, but just in case, he opened the door without removing the chain. What is it? Something happened to Rosa? We can't find Rosa or Maria. I thought they might be with you. I heard her scolding Maria in the corridor. They got quiet after that, so I thought they'd gone back to the lobby. But did they? That idiot. Rudolph clicked his tongue. Other people could be seen in the corridor. Rosa hadn't returned for a while after going out into the corridor, so they'd begun to worry. Near the front door, Natsuhi pointed at the unset chain. The chain isn't set. They must have gone outside to see that rose after all. How extraordinarily careless to go out and leave the door unlocked. What a troublesome person. I'm more worried about Rosa and Maria themselves. Right. Hey, brats. Where was this Rosa Maria's? Oh, they're actually down here? I'm pretty sure it was in the flower bed right in the middle of the rose garden. If that's where they are, we should be able to spot them pretty quickly if we go. Dad, shouldn't we bring them back here as soon as we can? Of course. We'll bring them back and give them a good spanking. I'll dash out there and come back. Lock the door as soon as I go out. Dad, I'll go with you. Don't be stupid. It's obviously a brat's job to watch over the house with Mama. Okay, Rudolph. What is it? Did something happen? Sorry, did I wake you up? It seems Rosa took Maria outside. How reckless of her. Rosa and Maria are outside? In the rose garden? That's right. Oh, did you hear? Maria was causing a ruckus because she wanted to see this rose. They mustn't go to the rose garden. Tell Rosa to stop. There's no telling her to stop now. It looks like they left a while ago. Seriously, how reckless of them. It's not it. Not the rose garden. There's a witch there, and she's waiting for a sacrifice. Rosa, you mustn't go. Oh. Eva cowered again, holding her head. Her complexion looked very bad. Oh shit. What is it? Did the fever make you dream something bad? It's a dream, yes. In the rose garden, the witch doing that to Rosa and Maria. Oh shit. That's right. It's a dream. It must be. Calm down. I'm here in this room, and the chain is set. The shutter's closed on the window, and we've even got a gun. This room is just like a fort. There's nothing to be afraid of. Hideyoshi beat his chest, trying to calm her, but Eva's insecure expression didn't change. Under the covers, Eva kept praying that the grotesque nightmare she just had was only a dream. So she had a dream from Beatrice's perspective. Beatrice's perspective. Yeah, and go figure. They're dead. In the center of the rose garden, Rudolph identified the corpses of Rosa and Maria. Alright, so let's read that then. That looks like a bug. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's definitely a bug of some sort. Why is It's all kinds of fucked up. I'm just gonna try this again. No, it's still fucked. What the fuck? Why is it all messed up? Whatever, where's Maria? There she is. Her corpse was found in the rose garden. The cause of her death was strangling, probably by bare hands. Circumstantial evidence makes it reasonable to assume that she was killed after Rosa. Then her blood became the red ink for the witch's oath. And there's Rosa's. Died in the rose garden with her medulla oblongata pierced by the spear-shaped part of the fence. If Maria's death hadn't been a clear homicide, it might have been possible to suspect an accidental case in Rosa's case. This woman was the human sacrifice for the birth of the new witch. Then her blood became the red ink for the witch's oath. I don't think there's really anything important as a tip there. After that, he returned to the guest house, called for help and carried both of them into the guest house. Is this like a common bug? Let me check again. Yeah, why is it doing this? I'm just gonna try doing this quick, see if that helps at all. We're gonna just do this. See if this helps. Alright, let's see if that changed anything. It didn't. That's an interesting bug then. If we can trust Nanjo's examination, the cause of Rosa's death was a stab to the medulla oblongata with the pointed gate of the fence. It is thought that Maria's death was due to strangling with bare hands. However, due to the devil's proof, we cannot discount a misdiagnosis. I will say it in red. Rosa and Maria died. The causes of death were as Nanjo diagnosed. She wasn't eaten by a spider, nor was she crushed by a mountain of cake. Don't worry. So you argue that even though you toyed with their deaths so much, it's all fine because the corpse is neat and clean? I definitely won't forgive you. I definitely won't forget all of that brutal treatment you gave Aunt Rosa, so I won't forgive you. It wasn't even her. Like I said, that wasn't me. I believe I gave them a much more peaceful death than the way she treated them. Shut the hell up. I'm not talking to you. It was stated that there are no more than 18 people on this island, and now that 8 people are already dead, we can narrow the field of suspects down to 10, perhaps. One of them probably killed those 2. Or could it also be an accidental death? Like Maria was having a tantrum, and when Aunt Rosa tried to stop her crying, she misjudged how much power she was using and accidentally killed her. Then she was so upset that she slipped and fell, landed on the fence, and unluckily died. How's that? That way there's no need for a witch or magic. Well, that's not quite true. Actually, Rosa and Maria... Shut up. Didn't I say I wasn't talking to you? You're an eyesore, so disappear, you monster. Batler said that without rage, but with a horribly cold voice. Ouch. That strange behavior was something Beatrice had noticed right off the bat. In a fight, both of them could go at each other without its restraint. However, he wouldn't even step into the ring. She could feel that coldness. Beatrice didn't find that amusing. She thought about flaring up, but she held back. Maybe even though she was innocent and childish, she had enough sense to realize that she shouldn't pick fights. Is that so? Then I'll vanish. Ronove, continue for me. Certainly. Will that be satisfactory, Battler? Why is Ronove still helping Beatrice? Like, does Eva Beatrice not exist at all? And speaking of existing, I thought of like a really shitty theory. A theory, oh fuck, I forgot about this. A theory that I'm pretty sure is completely wrong, but there's the possibility, because it hasn't been disproven, the possibility that instead of the witches, all these characters being fake, and these characters, who again we can't see, are real. What if it's the other way around? What if the real world is all these... God damn it, Goda. Is all the witches and stuff, like Battler and Beatrice. Battler's part of that world, perhaps. Like, let's just say Battler is part of this witch world and such. And Beatrice is obviously as well, as is, like... Well, this is all completely fucked up. Like, Eva, Beatrice, and all them, they're, fucking hell, I can't make that work. Eva, Beatrice, Ronave, the Stakes of Purgatory, all them are the real ones. And all these humans, like Maria, Jessica, Rosa, George, Nanjo, they all don't exist, but... like, the entire first game, perhaps, was shown for us from the human perspective, and Battler in that game is just a piece. Like everyone else is. He's not aware of witches or anything. It's just a game. I don't know. It's really hard to explain what I'm thinking, honestly. I'll think for a second and then try to give an answer. Or I could just keep talking, because then if I'm just thinking, it's just blank commentary. Essentially what I'm trying to say is, all these humans... the 18, they don't exist, but Battler, except for Battler. Battler exists, and maybe Eva. And Eva is just a piece controlled by... that's meant to represent Eva Beatrice. And maybe the true culprit is meant to represent Beatrice. And maybe Kumasawa represents Virgilia, and stuff like that. It's just a theory. Those 18 don't exist, except for Battler, kinda, sort of. Battler in the actual killing game, or whatever, the human side, the reality, doesn't exist. He's just the same sort of manifestation as the other 17. But Battler in this witch world does exist. And he's just been here. Maybe he has amnesia and Beatrice is toying with him. Or he's, like, new to being a... well, whatever a male witch would be called, like a sorcerer or a magician or something along those lines. Well, no, sorcerer shouldn't be the opposite of witch, would it? We'll say magician, I don't know. Mage, something along those lines, I don't know. We'll just say sorcerer for the sake of simplicity. So let's just say, Ronave, all them, they're real. And this other stuff is just a game. I guess the same thing would have to apply to Higurashi then too, right? Because as I'm pretty sure it's very implied that Burncastle and Lambda Delta had a game at some point, and that game was probably Higurashi. Because if that's not the case, it's weird why Burncastle looks so much like Rika, and why Lambda Delta looks so much like Satoko. But I don't know. There's really no evidence to support this, and I don't think this game would ever reach a point where we'll be like, is this reality the true reality, and is this reality that we're actually... that's actually supposed to be the true reality not true at all? Like, Battler just turns around and he's just like, none of this is actually happening, it's just a game. But then that'd be like some Danganronpa V3 levels of meta, so I have no idea. Whatever, let's just continue. Certainly. Will that be satisfactory, Battler? There are no problems with her proposal. Is it gonna fix itself now that it's not... okay, I guess that's just a glitch with CGs. Like, the only reason why it was like that before is because it was over a CG. Okay. I was waiting for the background to change just so I could see if that's what the case actually is, and I guess it is, so... if I try to go into this menu during a CG, it's gonna completely fuck up. Got it. Whatever, let's continue. If Battler doesn't want to see Beato's face, perhaps that will do. Do what you like. If I can live without seeing that monstrous face, I don't care about anything else. Poor Beato. Hey, wait a second. You keep saying monster, monster, but isn't that a cruel way to speak of me? Why do you instinctively hate me so much, Battler? Even though none of that was me. Even though it was all the work of my disciple. It's not like I'm only mad about what happened just now. It's been like that from the very beginning. Hey, Battler, don't misunderstand, okay? Are we just a pair of players confronting each other through a game? We look for moves to make things painful for each other, but... don't get the wrong idea. I don't hate you because you're my rival in this strange game about whether I accept you as a witch or not. I just can't forgive how senselessly cruel you are. Well, serial murders are a part of this game. It's probably impossible to avoid a little cruelty. I'm not just talking about what just happened. There was the last time and the time before that too. Tearing everyone's stomachs open and stuffing them with sweets, plowing their faces. What was the point of all that? That's... well... When it comes to closed-room murders and tricks and alibis, I'm willing to give you a pass. You want to claim that this is a murder done by magic, so I'll grudgingly accept that those complicated crimes need to occur. What exactly is the point of all those grotesque murders? He does have a point. Well, nothing much. That's right. They don't mean anything. You're just fooling around by mangling the corpses for fun. That has nothing to do with whether you're a witch or whether it could or couldn't be done with magic. You're just exploring the depths of cruelty for fun. This isn't about whether you're a witch or anything like that. If she doesn't exist, though, Battler, then it's not her who did it. There are just some things I can't forgive as a human. I feel like he's slowly but surely definitely accepting her existence. What do you mean as a human? For example, the 6 people of the first Twilight for this game. Well, other than Grandfather being burned black, the other corpses were killed in a normal way, without any unnecessary shaming of the dead. It wasn't clear whether the weapon was a spear or a gun, but anyway, as far as killing goes, that was acceptable. It was much better than the nonsensical grotesqueness and cruelty from the first Twilight last time, or the time before that. And this time, there were 6 closed rooms tied together to make a closed room chain. That was sort of interesting. When we were going back and forth with each other that time, to be perfectly honest, I thought it was just a little fun. You were frantic to make me accept your existence, and I was frantic trying to deny it. We were both frantically doing all we could. The PS3 version's definitely better at making, creepy faces. I've probably mentioned that before, but, like, Maria and Beatrice both have much better expressions to display insanity and cruelty and all that. And I don't know what Eva Beatrice's are in the Steam version, but hers are pretty good as well. This may sound weird, but I felt a faint sense of sportsmanship between the two of us. We exist in conflict, but I faintly thought that we might not be completely unable to understand each other's existence. But just now, that feeling was blown away without a trace. That's what you're misunderstanding. That wasn't me. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. You watched Aunt Rosa being killed horribly over and over, and you sneered at it like it was an interesting show. Ah. When I saw that, I was deeply disappointed in you. When I realized that your decision to kill them in a slightly better way this time was nothing more than a faint whim, and that nothing had changed in your cruel character, I was deeply disappointed. On the contrary, you were even genuinely enjoying those brutal deaths. You weren't just acting as cruel as you could to bully me. You truly, genuinely enjoy cruelty. Your character lets you enjoy it. You said I'd probably think that Aunt Rosa being brutally killed over and over was fun. You weren't joking. You enjoyed it from the bottom of your heart, wanted me to sympathize, and said that I'd probably think it was fun. In that instant, I lost respect for you and realized the truth. The problem isn't whether you're a witch or not. I will not forgive that cruelty of yours, and I can't understand it. I can't forgive it either. Still, I'll continue this game of whether to accept or deny witches. I won't step down and accept my own defeat. However, your pointless cruelty is absolutely unnecessary for that game, so I've decided that I won't accept you as my opponent. Ronove is 100 times better. He doesn't have the same cruel hobby you do. Even if he does, he doesn't have the awful taste to show it off in front of me. That's right, you have awful taste. You're heartless and cruel, so you can't understand. That's unpleasant in an opponent, so I don't want to see your face again. As Battler went on and on by himself, Beato was shocked into silence for a long time. Maybe she couldn't understand what she was being told, and this was a sign that she was doing all she could in an effort to understand. For a while, she kept switching between angry expressions, frustrated expressions, bold expressions, as though even she herself didn't know what attitude she should take. In the end, she made her face into a candid expression as though she had come to her senses, and shrugged her shoulders as though she was tired. In that case, do as you like. From now on, I will continue this game through Ronove. You have no complaints as long as I don't show myself, right? For the time being. But I definitely won't forgive all of your cruel actions up until now, and I definitely won't accept you. For that reason as well, I won't back down from this fight you've picked, and I definitely won't lose. That's all there is to it. Beato, no matter how many more excuses you give, his impression will not waver. I have something to talk about later. Until then, stay back. Indeed. Understood. Then I'll vanish until you call. Looking lonely, Beatrice turned her back to them and vanished. Battler watched, a slightly displeased expression on his face. He thought his argument had been valid, but for some reason his mood didn't clear up. She's an idiot. That's true. An idiot and a straightforward one. That idiot watched Aunt Rosa get killed horribly with me, then turned around with a huge smile on her face. She really believed that she could laugh with me at that cruel show. She really believed that I could sympathize with that emotion. Looking at that innocent smile, I felt just horrible. It would have been much better if she said it with her normal bullying face. Damn it. Milady has never had the experience of having a friend. In addition, she has probably never had something spoken to her that strongly. Madame and I are her attendants. No matter what we say, it will not reach her ears. For Milady, this is also... Don't screw with me. I don't ever remember becoming her friend. That's true enough. My apologies. There is one thing I would like to thank you for. Thank you for not backing down from that child's game. She spoke words of gratitude, but for some reason, Battler made a displeased face. Then, his own self-derision, he chuckled. Now that I've even got witches and demons thanking me, I'm screwed. Let's resume the game. Of course, I don't intend to go easy on you. I wouldn't have it any other way. Unlike Milady, I do not get agitated. I've already made my move. If we suppose that Aunt Rosa is the culprit and died in an accident, I can deny the witch. I don't want to suspect Aunt Rosa, but I think I can bear to accept that premise if it'll beat the hell out of Beatrice. I will deny it with red. Rosa's and Maria's deaths were homicides. Okay, let's start from there. Damn, I'm just not getting fired up. So if their deaths were homicides and they could have killed each other? Maria... Actually, never mind. Maria doesn't have the strength to knock over Rosa onto the fucking, fence. Especially, even if she was lucky. It was probably someone else. With Rosa's and Maria's deaths, it was now clear that the culprit was still hiding somewhere. Hold on. Hold the fuck on. Hold the living fuck on. Game 2. No, Game 1. It was these two. Game 2. It was these two. Thing is, they were killed by stakes. Where's the stake? They don't have the same wound either. Like, the thing is, these two had the same wound. They were both pierced in the forehead with something, with a stake. Game 2, well, I think Cannon was pierced in the chest. But Jessica was pierced in the back? Even so, they were killed in basically the same way. Stabbed, pierced through their torso. Then she just fucking had the spear-shaped part of the fence go straight through her brain. Maria was strangled. So, is it even the same culprit as the first one? Are we working with two culprits this time? We'll have to pay attention to stakes. Because I know for a fact, they're supposed to die. Well, maybe they're not. Like, maybe they don't have to die from stakes. But the thing is, why else would they die from stakes in the first and second games then, in the second Twilight? I mean, they implied Goda died from a stake, but clearly he wouldn't have. Because he was killed with the same weapon as these guys. So, yeah, what the fuck? Does that mean we have two culprits? Or is this just like a different culprit from, like, the epitaph culprit? Because I'm assuming each game there's a culprit following the epitaph, and like I said before, pretty sure the first one was Shannon, and the second one was Rosa with Goda as an accomplice or second culprit. Well, it could have also been Kumasawa, but it's much more likely that it was Goda. Either way, what's happening this time? Like, is the epitaph culprit this time just a lot more lazy and carefree? Like, maybe they're more forgetful and it's someone like Jessica, but then how'd she escape from the guest house? I have no idea. It could have been Nanjo? I mean, Nanjo's the character I'm most suspicious of right now, given the basis around the first Twilight, but I don't know. It really depends. We'll figure it out later on. With Rosa's and Maria's deaths, it was now clear that the culprit was still hiding somewhere, trying to add even more murders to this chain. As he shed tears, Rudolph scolded Rosa's corpse for being reckless several times, but Rosa would never respond to that again. They decided to place the two corpses in one of the guest rooms and seal it until the police arrived. The second murder, no, the murder of the second Twilight had delivered a heavy blow to everyone. It had blown away the optimism that some of them had held. The thought that a crime didn't actually occur, and it was all a game or a farce by Kinzo and the servants. Trying to distract themselves from the loss of the people they liked, George and Jessica had spent the whole time since morning talking about every possibility. And they had distracted their hearts by supposing that these murders might actually have been all an act, and that Shannon and Cannon were only pretending to be dead. When the next murder occurred, it destroyed that thought, and they were once again struck by the fact that the person they liked had most definitely been killed. The tears that they thought had died away began to drip down once more, and Batler couldn't think of anything to say to them. After that, all of the adults checked that all of the rooms were safe and locked, just in case. They made certain that the shutters on all of the windows were down and locked, and they confirmed that no one suspicious was hiding anywhere. On top of that, they checked their weapons once again, and checked with each other to make sure that they were mentally prepared, so that they wouldn't hesitate to fire off a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Then what's gonna happen with Rosa's gun? Is just a different adult gonna get it? Rosa's gun had been found near the scene of the crime. Wow, fucking, I'm a fucking 4-tower. Someone had gone out of their way to leave it there, so everyone suspected that it was some kind of trap. But when Hideyoshi delicately used a fire iron to fire off test shots, it was able to discharge without incident. So since the 5 shots loaded into it had discharged without any problems, they reloaded it with bullets and handed it over to the only adult male who wasn't armed, Hideyoshi. Okay, Hideyoshi has the gun then. However, the fact that it had been able to fire off 5 shots gave rise to a certain paranoia. This short-barrel Winchester could only hold 5 shots. In other words, Rosa hadn't fired even once. Oh, so she was caught by surprise then. And yet the two had probably been killed by someone with their bare hands. This meant that there was a possibility that the crime had been committed by someone whose face they knew. When the first murder occurred, I privately thought of the possibility that it was all an act. My apologies to Dr. Nanjo, but if he had actually been an accomplice, I thought the deaths of all the servants might possibly have been a massive, elaborate act by Father. After all, the closed room situation they were in couldn't have been created unless we supposed that it was all an act. Oh, they're down here now? We also suspected that. No, I still want to believe that's the case. My apologies, but that is not so. I am quite old. I might possibly make a misdiagnosis. However, I would never mistake whether they were alive or dead. I get it! Don't go out of your way to say it out loud, Dr. Nanjo. My apologies. They had no way of knowing, but Beato had already used the red to proclaim the deaths of the 6. No, the deaths of all victims so far in this game. That faint dream that it was all a farce, that the victims were actually alive. I'm sorry to say it, but that's impossible. In that case, it makes more sense to assume it's someone familiar with the mansion. Someone hiding around and carrying out a really well-polished crime. In that case, wouldn't it make sense to suspect Kraus, Natsuhi, and Jessica? So ever since the typhoon came to this island and sealed it off from the outside world, there's been more than 18 people here. Oh, or Rudolph or Eva, I guess. Since they lived here at one point. Of course, there was no way for them to know about that either. That claim of Rudolph's had also been denied and read. There are no more than 18 humans on this island. I might have a way to look at it that keeps things consistent, at least a little. Simply put, this person in hiding is someone who shouldn't be on this island right now. And yet, there's a likelihood that they were someone Rosa knew, someone she let her guard down around. Oh. So, for example, could it be a servant who wasn't on this 2-day shift? It's hard to be certain about that one. When our servants finish their work and leave the island, it isn't as though we punch their ticket or something to make sure. If we're supposing that a servant on a shift from a few days ago only pretended to leave the island and actually stayed here, that would be hard to deny. I don't think Rosa is such a fool. If a servant who wasn't supposed to be here popped up in front of you, who wouldn't be under guards? Oh, she's here too, okay. I'm not even sure we should be assuming that it was someone she recognized. Maybe suddenly attacked Rosa from the darkness and were about to steal her gun. Then Rosa fell, hit her head against the fence, and stopped moving. The guest house was nearby and they wanted to avoid the sound of gunfire, so they killed Maria with their bare hands. There's also that possibility. Still, even if that is the case, would they really intentionally leave Rosa's gun at the scene of the crime? We don't know what the culprit's armed with, but they've got to feel insecure about our guns. Wasn't that a perfect chance for them to thin out our supply? Why would they intentionally leave it at the scene of the crime? Theory time, boys, and maybe, like, 0.5 girls. I don't think this is true. But what other choice is there? Really, what other choice is there? That were even said, think of Beatrice. Well, Beatrice told Batwer, think of Beatrice as the same person as Eva. So then, for all intents and purposes, Eva. Alright. I guess I might as well explain a little bit more, because there's a lot of shit going through my head right now, and I really said absolutely nothing there, so wahoo. Anyways, basically what I'm implying here is Hideyoshi lied to Rosa about Eva being sick in her bed and trying to sleep. She could have still been in there, but not trying to sleep, you know? His main goal was to blow up, was to get Rosa and Maria out of the guest house. Eva then went out there and started actually talking to Rosa about the gold. And, well, it just got into an altercation. Eva was saying she doesn't want to split the gold. So it ended up with Rosa impaled on the fence, and since Maria was a witness, she killed her. Therefore, I think Eva's a different murderer. I don't think she's the same person who killed these 6. Because the thing is, those 6 were all killed in accordance with the first Twilight. These 2 weren't even killed in accordance with the second Twilight. Yes, they're close. They're mother-daughter, but they weren't killed by the stakes. They weren't. If Maria wasn't there, Eva would have just killed Rosa. So I think there's 2 culprits, and one of them is Eva. So then, the thing that tipped me off was, why would they leave the gun there? Well, it was to get the guns into the hands of someone else. Because the only people with guns right now are Kraus, Rudolph, Eva, and Hideyoshi. Rosa used to have a gun, but they gave it to Hideyoshi, as he's the only adult male, well, so to speak, who doesn't have a gun. The only one of them, at least. He's the most capable, I guess, with a gun. Because Nanjo's an old man, and I don't think they'd want to trust gun with a George over here over these 3. So then they Eva killed Rosa and Maria, left the gun there, so when they discovered the body later, they would probably assume, out of everyone here, the most capable next is Hideyoshi. And then that means these 2 are accomplices. They're accomplices in this little murder scheme here. Hideyoshi knows about the gold. He knows that she's the quote-unquote head now. And they're working together to kill off the siblings. And maybe even Jessica and Batler and Nanjo. Just so they can have the gold for themselves and George. So, yeah, I guess it would depend on if any of these three die later. Because it depends on how people are gonna die from now on. Because if they continue to not use stakes, it's obvious that there's a second culprit. Who's not killing in accordance with the epitaph. With the Twilights. So, we'll just say that for now. That's just my theory for now. It could literally be anyone. It could have been Jessica, it could have been George, it could have been Batler, it could have been Nanjo, it could have been Kyrie, it could have been Rudolph, could have been Krause, and it could have been Natsuhi. But the thing is, these four were all in the same room. These three were in the same room. The only ones who were left alone at any point, like, the thing is, either it would have to be him working alone, these two working together, these three working together, or these four working together. And, well, who has the best motive to kill Rosa? Hey, ding dong! So, let's continue. At first, I thought that gun was a trap. That's what chessboard thinking says it should be. By purposefully leaving it, they wanted to make one of us touch it. And they must have wanted to make us pull the trigger. I was sure that something dangerous had been done to it, to make it explode and cause massive injuries. But it was actually okay. The culprit probably panicked. I'll bet that right now they're regretting that they missed their chance to steal a gun. But they still did. I don't like it. It ticks me off like it's a message from the witch, saying she isn't even scared of guns. However, in any event, this is truly a fearsome opponent. Even at a glance, they should have been able to tell that Rosa had a gun. To think that they attacked her despite that. The fact that they are unafraid of guns should not be taken lightly. Indeed. It's as Natsuhi says. We should probably be even more cautious than we have been. This is just for peace of mind, but at the time we think Rosa was attacked outside. Where was everyone? Natsuhi and I were here, along with Rudolph and Kyrie. I can guarantee their alibis. So it was none of them. Eva and I were together. I can guarantee that. George, Jessica, and I were together. When Aunt Rosa yelled at us to return to the second floor, we retraced our steps back to the cousin's room, all dejected. Back then, if we hadn't let Maria go... Saying that isn't going to change anything. So those three never left together. Dr. Nanjo? I was reading a book in a room on the second floor. I was by myself, so no one can verify my alibi, but I believe everyone saw me return to the second floor with the children. Once I say this, it'll never end. But what if you jumped out the window, attacked Rosa, then climbed back up using a rain gutter or something? Don't be absurd. How could I perform a feat such as jumping down from the second story or climbing up with this old body? Let us stop suspecting each other. You were the first person to heavily suspect Nanjo in this entire series, Natsuhi. I don't want to hear it. It's more important that we trust each other, and for the children's sake as well, defend this place until the very end. You're right. It's like Natsuhi says. For now, let's stop suspecting each other. That's right. We may be useless as far as searching for the culprit is concerned. We can only stay alive until tomorrow, inform the police, and follow their instructions. Because the police will definitely expose who the culprit is. What is it, Eva? Is your body still feeling bad? Mother, what's wrong? Are you okay? Sorry. It looks like my fever is still strong. I'll be fine, so leave me alone. When they looked, they saw Eva staring at the floor, her breathing harsh again. She had been able to act firm for a time due to the urgency of their situation, but it seemed her body wasn't at its best after all. Oh, Christ. Yeah, I killed those two. Now we're the only ones who know about the gold. I won't give up even a scrap to the other siblings. What have you done? There was so much of that gold, right? Giving Rosa and the others their share wouldn't have been a problem at all, right? It would. That gold is to be passed on only to the head of the Ushiromiyas family. That's because it as a whole represents no more or less than the honor of the head. To wound that even a tiny bit is definitely not something that I, the new Golden Witch Beatrice, will permit. Do you plan to continue these murders according to the witch's epitaph? Do you actually plan to become a murderer 5 more times? Yeah. If I don't finish that annoying ceremony, it seems my power as a witch won't become complete. Hey, me. The power of the witch really is awesome. It really can make all the crazy things we imagine become reality. The power to make dreams more than just dreams. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Now that I've learned of this power, I can no longer stop being a witch. If I can finish the ceremony and make my power complete, I'm sure I'll be able to teach you that feeling too. Stop acting like a fool. Haven't you played at being a witch enough? We found the gold, and we've even been promised the position of the successor. We'll probably need to tightrope walk just a bit, but by now that's a dream that will definitely come true. Beyond that, what more could you wish for? I wanted to become a witch. I don't give a damn about that dream. That's right. Because I kept holding on to that dream, I've lived at this age forever. When you became an adult, you threw that dream away. No matter how long you wait, the rabbit holding a clock won't visit you, and you won't be able to meet Humpty Dumpty. What? Was Humpty Dumpty in Alice in Wonderland? And was the rabbit in Humpty Dumpty? Of course, you definitely won't be invited to the land of cards. Is she just Huh? Because you gave up and accepted all that, you became an adult. What's with her metaphor there with Alice in Wonderland? So you don't want to become a witch or anything like that anymore. You've even forgotten that it truly was your own dream at some point. Anyway, stop it! I've already gotten my hands on 2 dreams. The gold and the position of head. That's more than enough. So please, your dream has nothing to do with me. Stand down! No way. Magic's too interesting. Also, those 2 dreams of yours both came true because of my magic. It wouldn't be fair if my dream didn't come true too. I'm grateful for your magic and I acknowledge that you're a real witch, so just stand down and return to the inside of my heart. And never appear again. No way. We're both misunderstanding each other, aren't we? That's right, I'm not you anymore. You are Ushiromiya Eva. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. So it's not my responsibility to go back inside your heart. I guess I feel like a butterfly who's broken out of her cocoon. Meaning you. The fevers. It's making my mind cloudy. My inexperience with magical powers forcing me to support it with your vitality. Until I finish the ceremony and become a full witch, you might have to bear the burden. I'll take that as payment for making 2 of your dreams come true. It's fine, don't worry, okay? For the remaining 5 sacrifices, I'll avoid your family. Let's see. Rudolph, Kyrie, Kraus, Natsuhi. After that, what about that old geezer Nanjo? Perfect, I'll kill those 5 people. Could you call this a murder announcement revealed only to you? So those 5 will die. Oh! Eva finally crouched down. Hideyoshi rushed up to her and lent her his shoulder. Are you okay? Let's take it easy and rest. Are you alright? Dr. Nanjo, take a look at Eva. When Nanjo and George tried to approach, Eva made a gesture to stop them. Yeah, she's faking the fever. Why else would she not want Nanjo to fucking... I feel like they've been doing that on purpose. I feel like Hideyoshi's certainly an accomplice. Because otherwise, Eva couldn't have killed Rosa and Maria. And she doesn't want Nanjo to check if she has a fever. Because she doesn't. She's faking everything. Thank you. I'm fine, Dr. Nanjo. I'm taking medicine. I apologize for saying this during such an extreme situation. Let me rest a little longer. Mom, I'll lend a hand too. Thank you, but I'll be fine as long as your father watches over me. She only wants Hideyoshi around her. She's definitely at least a culprit. There could be fucking 5 culprits for all I know. But right now, I'm assuming there's only 2. The Epitaph culprit and Eva / Hideyoshi. Go back to the 2nd story cousin's room and don't come out no matter what. Understood? No matter what happens, you must not leave the guest house. Outside that witch will... Don't talk anymore. Sorry, everyone, but I'll be watching over Eve in our room. Tell us if something happens. Hideyoshi and Eva retreated from the lobby. However, Eva wasn't the only one who wasn't feeling good. They hadn't gotten a wink of sleep since the previous night. and had been pressed by tension since that morning. They were mustering their energy to protect their families, but if they relaxed even a little, surely everyone would be down and out. I don't know why my stomach hurts now. I guess I ate too much today, because I had a whole bag of tortellini, which is like 1,000 calories, and a quarter of a egg and bacon breakfast pizza, so I need to not eat for the rest of the day, because ouch! Everything has gone as planned until now, but from here on out, it will become difficult, you see. Difficult meaning... Indeed, normally as the ceremony progresses and the victims increase in number, they begin to tighten their guard. And in most cases they hole up in one place and stop moving. That is extremely inconvenient for us. Are you saying that we witches are inferior to a bunch of humans in a group? Witches are never inferior to humans. However, perhaps you could say that times change and that humans have gotten their hands on a poison. This wasn't a problem long ago when people believed in witches, but just like that annoyance battler, people in the current era deny magic on a fundamental level. In other words, their existence itself is anti-magical. As a result, at some point, they grew to possess a toxin inside their bodies that denies magic. In other words, you're saying that the more humans there are, the stronger that magic-resisting toxin gets, and the greater the disadvantages for us witches. The combined amount of power in their hearts that denies magic. In other words, their magic resistance power becomes the denominator in the equation of your magic's power. Understand? Is that a bit too difficult for you? You're joking. Actually, I understand it easily. In other words, you're saying that the more people there are who don't believe in magic, and the stronger their will is, the more the effects of our magic are divided. Yeah, if it's so formulaic, I'll have to rethink my method of attack. Fundamentally, magic possesses a vast power. It can even make a rain of fire fall from the heavens or divide a sea, and reviving a lost life isn't impossible either. However, that power is extremely weak against the toxin that rejects it. And that toxin started piling up in humans since the time they forgot to respect things sacred. Until finally, this earth was covered with enough toxin that the miracles of magic could not be displayed. Thus, witches from across the world were chased from their dwellings. They had been forced to choose to throw away their magic and live as humans, or else live in hiding in remote areas where the toxin of humans didn't reach. In that sense, Rokkenjima, with its population of only a few dozen humans, was extremely favorable for witches. And even more favorable was the existence of the ghost story about the witch who lived in the Rokkenjima forest. In other words, by permeating the island with the fear that a witch might exist, the magic-resisting toxin from the humans was weakened. A small population and room for them to acknowledge magical beings. In other words, minds that were only weakly anti-magical. Only by existing in the valley where those two converge could a witch live in modern times. I see. So using this formula, we can arrive at several rules for how a witch can use her power efficiently. The first is presentation. Create a murder scene that couldn't conceivably have been done by humans, decorated in an occult way, make it look very much like a witch exists, and permeate people with fear to make them believe that witches exist. As a result, the anti-magic power in the denominator for our magical power will be decreased. I see, so this is why the creepy magic circles of the first Twilight were created? That's right, exactly. The gaudy scenes for the first Twilight in each game are all for that reason. It's definitely not as though I like being cruel or am doing it for fun. In that case, predecessor, you failed this time around. You killed him in a very plain way. It doesn't look like anything more than a simple mystery. I heard about last time and the time before that from Ronave. You should have damaged the corpses more grotesquely, like you did then, making it look more like fantasy and instilling fear in those people. Well, about that, I thought it wouldn't be artful to do that every time, you see? Don't think too deeply on it, it's just a whim. Actually, it really had been her whim. After what Batware had said to her, she couldn't say it out loud anymore, but she really had decided her methods of killing based on mere whims. Yeah, there also weren't the, since they weren't killed in a closed room, there wasn't that, magic circle of the, like, door-shaped thingamabobber for this one, so... Is this not the second Twilight, and just Eva's murder? That's what I'm still sticking to that, there's two culprits. No, would it be better to say that she had half-heartedly let Ronave decide? After all, she left the closed rooms of this game's first Twilight to him. But if she'd had a cruel idea, then she would surely have explored the limits of atrocity even worse than in the previous game. You told me to show some restraint when deciding Rosa's and Maria's deaths too, but that wasn't a course of action beneficial to us witches either, was it? In actuality, by now, none of them believe one bit that a witch actually exists. They're totally sure that it's a mystery, not a fantasy. This turn of events is a failure from a witch perspective. For some reason, you keep doing things in a kind of lukewarm way, predecessor. Like they say, things you learn when you're young will definitely help you out in the future. This is a test passed on from my predecessor to you. Take it on with respect. Beatrice tried to laugh heartily, but it was obviously the fake laugh of someone trying to cover something up. And the new witch shrugged with a sigh. At this stage, it's probably too late to create a scene and reduce the anti-magic power. In that case, there's another move. Getting the humans to split up should work. Indeed, that is probably the most effective way. The smaller the number of humans, the more the denominator shrinks. As a result, the magical power functions instantaneously. In other words, it all begins from one point. How to destroy this barricade situation and have them split up into small groups. However, they are already very cautious. The barricade won't be destroyed easily, right? Both the barricade in Kinzo's study 2 games ago, and the barricade in the parlor last time were very stubborn. Furthermore, most of the cunning adults still remain this time. The situation is more difficult than all the ones before it, understand? If you wish, I could give you some special advice. In a closed circle, when the first murder case occurs, the survivors always hole up, gathering together to observe each other and ensure their safety. Funnily enough, not only do mystery authors and murder culprits worry about how to break that situation apart, but so do witches, who supposedly exist at the other end of the spectrum. For a while, the new witch poked her cheek with her pointer finger, and after acting as though she was planning something, she spoke. No, I'm fine. After all, it is a test. I won't borrow your moves. Really? Still, it will be rather difficult to defeat this barricade, right? I've already made my move. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And it'll definitely work on someone smart. Is that so? You really are excellent. I'm pleased to see that my disciple won't be causing me much trouble. My motto is to study things before asking other people. Then, if you would excuse me, I have to wait for my prey to get lured out. Indeed. Well then, handle it with care. As the new witch lowered her head, her face blank, she turned into gold butterflies and vanished. Beatrice didn't look happy at all. She seemed to be lonely because of how little she was being relied on. Not one of them gives a fig for me. You witch apprentice, acting so smart. I'll bet she makes some painful mistake and starts crying. Then without a doubt she'll finally realize my greatness and beg me to teach her. Until then, I shall watch from on high. She laughed loudly on the outside, but a laugh no one can hear is completely pointless. Beatrice gave up and quickly stopped laughing. Ronave chose that time to show himself. Sup, bitch? Excuse me, milady. The game of the second Twilight with Battler has ended. We didn't even get to see it? I see. Good work. What was the result? My sincere apologies, I was forced to resign. By saying in red that both deaths were homicide, I made Battler revise his claim of Rosa strangled Maria to death then died in an accident. But I could not repel his chain of moves placing Eva as the principal offender. Oh fuck, really? Wasn't Eva sleeping in her room the whole time as Hideyoshi cared for her? He put forth the possibility that Hideyoshi was an accomplice, and that the two worked together to create an alibi. Literally, I am a god. He even suspects Hideyoshi? Couldn't you have struck back by saying in red that he was in the guest room at the time of the murder? I also thought of that, but multiple important pieces might have been taken several moves later. And because this move might be connected to the new Beatrice's strategy, I acted out of respect to her. My apologies. Strategy, you say? Her mind does seem to be sharp. We can let her do as she pleases. It will be quite a show to see how far she can go. I'm just literally Battler. I thought you would say that. I see that the uncuteness of your disciple has left you in a bad mood. That's none of your business. I wonder how that one plans to destroy this barricade going forward. I shall keep a close eye on her. Uncuteness. Oh, and how is Battler's mood? It appears as though he had calmed himself down. He did say that he couldn't get fired up after all without you as his opponent. Really? Well, that's no surprise. No surprise at all. If I don't return for the fourth twilight and after, Battler will probably be lonely himself. Puh-kuh-kuh-kuh. And with that, if you would excuse me, I need to go bake some delicious cookies. I must at least enliven the discussion between you and Battler, milady. Indeed. That guy really was munching your cookies, wasn't he? It's no surprise that a boy can eat so much. Make a lot of them. Certainly. I shall make enough cookies to bury the table. That sounds great. Ronave's an incredible character, honestly. He's hilarious. Bury the table. First uncuteness, then I will make enough cookies to bury the table. What's going on? What did you want to talk about? Kyrie called Rudolph out into the corridor. It was obvious that she wanted to talk about something that she didn't want the others to hear. Yeah? I want to go outside. Literally, why? Oh. What? I'm really confused now. Do I have to leave myself on that note? Should I leave myself on that note? I'm gonna keep going for like 30 more minutes. Who's to say I can't go to an hour 20? Certainly, the body cannot last with nothing more than a small breakfast, but... Of course, we understand. Still, as time passes, it'll get darker and darker out. It's probably at its brightest now. It's the most convenient time. Only about an hour has passed since Rosa was attacked. This is simply too reckless. It was only natural that Natsuhi was yelling about recklessness. After all, Rudolph said he was going to the mansion to get food. Certainly, on top of their fatigue, their hunger was tormenting them. They're so dead then, aren't they? In the beginning, a mild level of hunger had been just what they needed to fight off drowsiness. However, it now just made their minds hazy, since it was still only midday, and their bodies felt like they were reaching their limits. The thought of going to the kitchen in the mansion and bringing back some food certainly was attractive. I'm opposed to this. It may be a little rough, but we definitely shouldn't leave this place. Don't worry about us, but it would pain my heart to keep the children hungry. I must be responsible as a parent. Dear, now that father is dead, you are the Ushiromiyas family head. It is not permissible for you to take on such a danger. You're right. It's like Natsuhi says. Kraus, you should remain here as our leader. Then who will go to the mansion? I think it should be Kyrie and me, and Hideyoshi too. Hideyoshi? Hideyoshi and I have guns. They shouldn't be able to lay a hand on us that easily. Rosa also had a gun, but she was attacked. Won't it be dangerous? When I went to check on Rosa and Maria, I had a gun, but I was alone, and yeah, I wasn't attacked. Maybe they'll be cautious if their opponent is a man. We'll have 2 men, and even 2 guns. Those 2 will act as guards, and I'll transport our cargo using a cart. I believe the situation will be significantly different than it was for Rosa. If you're counting on me because I'm a man, I'd be happy to help. I may not look it, but I'm built up pretty strong from pushing food stands around. Leave the heavy lifting to me. You men can devote yourselves to guarding. There's a folding cart in the servant room, and using that I should be able to handle carrying the food. Of course, we'll be careful, and if we can succeed in this adventure just once, there won't be any need for us to take risks again. Is there any way I can get you to rethink this? It may be painful for everyone to deal with empty stomachs, but even so, we do not know what is happening outside now. We'll take care, and Eva's feeling pretty darn bad right now. We can't let her stay hungry. If her stomach's empty, she can't take her medicine. I have to go out for Eva's sake as well. How is Eva? Looks like she's finally gotten to sleep. She has a high fever. If we just leave her be for a while. You can't just stand still when it comes to your wife's health. Understood. I'll give you permission to go outside. Then we'll take a little trip there and back. A speed contest. Canned food's okay, right? You at least have a can opener here, don't you? Yes. We have a can opener and a bottle opener. Why is there not food in the guest house, though? There's running water in the guest house, so we won't need anything to drink. We need to get 10 people's worth, so no being picky about what you get. There are 8 people. Alright, why don't we dash out and bring it back quick? Are there 8 people? No, there's 10, I'm stupid. Why don't we dash out and bring it back quickly? There's no time to open umbrellas. See ya. Bro, I'll trust you to look after this place. Take care. Under normal circumstances, I'd want to go too. Being a man, I despise how this title of the oldest brother prevents me from lending a hand in an emergency like this. This is about the only time we get to show off. Sit back and take it easy every once in a while, bro. Okay, Natsuhi, wait here and get some towels ready or something. We aren't using umbrellas, so we soak to the bone when we get back. Understood. Take care. Rudolph, Kirie, and Hideyoshi, each leaving their own brave words behind, left the lobby. Define 30 minutes, because I am in a situation where I need to leave my room, and we're at an hour, so hey, that's going to be it for this episode. If you like it, be sure to... If you liked it, rather, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!